Back on the boat and we're off to Helicopter Island, known as such because it kinda looks like a helicopter from the side. Kinda. The actual name of the place is Dilumacad Island, given by the local Tagbanwa people that we mentioned in a previous episode, but the actual etymology of the name is kind of unclear, at least in our limited research. Dilumacad Island is famous as a spot for snorkeling and scuba diving, and while it's pretty par for the course around El Nido, we were very excited as big coral reefs aren't particularly common sights in Hanoi. The lack of reefs in Hanoi means that there's also no reef sharks, which we were really excited to see, but unfortunately didn't. But the big draw was all the pretty coral anyway. Winter, the dry season, is the best time of year for snorkeling and scuba diving as the water is rougher during other parts of the year and can lead to cloudier water. It also depends on the tide at the time that you show up, but we got pretty lucky on that. The moon was in the right place at the right time, which I'm pretty sure means astrology is real, but the intern insists that it's actually just orbital mechanics, so decide for yourself. It's a post-facts world nowadays anyway. Once the interns made it back on the boat, without having grabbed a single fish for me to take home, I'll add, we were off to the next spot that's a little different from the others. I mean, it's just more tropical paradise, so it's not really that different than the others, but we opted to head over to Cadlao Island, which is actually the biggest island in Bakwait Bay, and the name is likely derived from a Tagbanwa word for big. Despite this, it's actually visited far less often than many of its other smaller counterparts. Of course, it has its own little utopian lagoon, but instead we opted for a quiet beach on the south side of the island where we could have a lot more space for ourselves. And remember that since none of these tours are really set in stone, especially if you have enough people to rent out your own boat, if you're nice to the guides, they'll bring you wherever you want. Ain't no thing. And this island actually had some locals that were fans of the show. I got a little posse going on. But anyway, back to the view. After ogling the view in a nice swim, once the most precious cargo, myself,
this is the most important things, yes, the rum!
And of course the coconut rum were back on board, it was time for a quick hop back to town, 30 minutes or so, easy peasy. Now, for the sake of anyone out there planning their own trips to these parts, it's important to keep some things in mind. Sailing at night, especially around rock formations like this, is A, dangerous. And while this is neither the time nor the place to be discussing philosophical logic arguments of things like material conditionals, there is also that it, B, sucks. So, barring some kind of emergency or big unforeseen event, you'll almost certainly be back in town by sundown with plenty of time to re-rum your coconut. As we've completed our swashbuckling for the day, we headed back to home base for the night. So make sure to lick that like button, pause subscribe, and make sure to join us the next time when we, I guess, swash another buckle. Later!